Okay, good evening everyone. We continue with visual diagnosis, body shape and posture, abundant in yin. Okay, sa observation, the typical characteristics of a person of the abundant yin type. There is tendency to obesity, relatively dark complexion, loose muscles with thick skin, quiet, reticent, and introverted nature, soft voice, meron siyang preference for heat, and a desire to wrap up warm. So ito po yung body shape ng abundant yin. Sa clinical significance, the above-mentioned features indicates an abundant yin constitution. It is important to stress that such a body shape indicates only a constitutional tendency to excess of yin and not necessarily an actual pattern of yin excess. So, constitutional tendency po ito ng to excess of yin. In pathological conditions, a person with an abundant yin constitution will have a tendency to excess of yin that is cold, dampness, or phlegm. Common patterns appearing in people with an abundant yin constitution include cold, dampness, damp phlegm, and cold phlegm, or phlegm fluid, chi stagnation, blood stasis, etc. In treatment, emphasis should be put on reducing yin, expelling cold, resolving dampness and phlegm, and tonifying yang. So, yan po yung mga dapat nating magawa. At the same time, attention should be paid to regulating qi and invigorating blood. So quotations from the classics sa chapter 72 of the spiritual axis says, a person of greater yin type have a somber countenance and pretend to be humble. They have the body built of a grown up, but make themselves smaller by bending their back and knees slightly. This is the picture of a greater yin type person. They are restless while standing and walk as if to hide themselves. This is the picture of lesser yin type person. So chapter 72 of the spiritual axis says, person of a greater yin type are constitutionally excessive in yin and deficient in yang. Their yin and blood are thick and turbid. Their defensive qi does not flow freely. Yin and yang are not in harmonious state, which leads to loose sinews and a thick skin. So yan po ma-observe natin. When needling patients with an abundant yin constitution, only through reducing of the yin quickly and immediately can improvement be expected. So i-reduce natin yung yin. The same chapter of the spiritual axis says, the yellow emperor asks, how is it that sometimes the body will react only after several acupuncture treatments? Chibu answers, such a person is excessive in yin and deficient in yang. So, matagal daw magkaroon ng effect yung acupuncture. Ito po is dahil excessive yung yin and deficient yung yang. The movement of qi is restrained and therefore it is difficult for qi to arrive when the patient is needled. This is the reason why the body will react to the acupuncture only after several treatments. So, tandaan po natin, excessive yung yin, deficient ang yang, and it takes time para magkaroon po ng result or effect yung acupuncture. This passage clearly relates to the ease or difficulty with which a patient reacts to acupuncture to the relative balance of yin and yang. Patients with a constitutional abundance of yin will react to acupuncture more slowly. So, mas mabagal po para magkaroon ng effect ang meron constitutional abundance of yin. Okay? Next, body shape of deficient in yang. The typical characteristic of a person with deficient yang type of body shape are as follows. Meron siyang overweight, swollen body, pale or pale bluish complexion, listlessness, low spirits, slow movement, weak, loose muscles, preference for warm, aversion to cold limbs, desire to wrap up. So ito po yung picture ng body shape of deficient in yang. Sa clinical significance, the above-mentioned body appearance indicates that the patient is constitutionally deficient in yang. It is important to stress that such a body shape indicates only a constitutional tendency to yang deficiency. It does not necessarily follow that every person with such a body shape actually suffers from yang deficiency. So, tandaan po natin, pag naka-observe tayo ng ganyang body shape, there is only, or we could say that there is a constitutional tendency to yang deficiency, pero hindi natin siya masasabi na talagang actual yang deficient yung condition. When such a constitutional tendency does not manifest with actual yang deficiency, these people will suffer symptoms of cold, cold dampness, cold phlegm, damp phlegm, and phlegm fluid. So ito po yung mangyayari sa kanya dahil meron siyang yang deficiency. Deficient in yin. So there is typical characteristic of a person with deficient yin type of body shape are as follows. Thin body build, sometimes red cheeks and lips, excited look, restless expression in the eyes, propensity to be excited, feeling of heat, and quick movements. People of yin deficient body shape are often deficient in yin and excessive in yang. The body is thin and tall with a long shaped head, thin long neck, narrow shoulders, and a narrow long flat chest. These people are often bend forward when they walk or stand. So, deficient in yin. So, ito po yung body shape ng deficient in yin. Sa clinical significance, the above-mentioned features indicates a deficient of yin constitution. It is important to stress that such a body shape indicates only a constitutional tendency to deficiency of yin and not necessarily an actual pattern of yin deficiency. In pathology, these patients will tend to yin or essence deficiency and hyperactivity of yang. When they fall ill, they will easily develop empty heat or dryness. So, since there is a deficient yin constitution, pag nagkaroon ng pathology or condition, ito po magde-develop ng empty heat or dryness. Next, body shape with yin and yang in balance. So, sa observation, the body shape with harmony of yin and yang is of medium build, not too tall or short, neither too stout or thin. The movements are balanced and the person's personality is stable. People with such constitution are better able to adapt themselves to changes caused by the stresses of life. So yan yung yin and yang in balance. Ito po yung body shape with harmony of yin and yang. Sa clinical significance, the above-mentioned features indicates a harmony of yin and yang. These people are less easily attacked by external pathogenic factors. When they do fall ill, the pathogenic factors are often not strong. The location of the disease is superficial, and the disease itself is mild. Sa quotations from the classics, chapter 72 of the Spiritual Axis says, people with the body shape with harmony of yin and yang look elegant and graceful. So maganda po yung katawan ng may harmony ang yin and yang. So thank you po for your attention.